G'day, hi, and welcome. I've renamed this plane. It is called the Wright Brothers plane, kinda. Because, yeah, it's the Wright Brothers plane, but kinda, there's a little few differences here and there. And, well, I've been playing the demo version of Simple Planes 2. Can I hide this because that's not even updated? I've been playing the demo version of Simple Planes 2, and it has been quite enjoyable. I've been using this plane, which what I have been doing is I literally had the server going because I like to make my own server on it, and I've been taking this plane up as high as I possibly can and just letting it go around in circles. Now I'm going to do a little bit of a test flight today on this, just in virtual reality. First of all, I've never used this one in virtual reality, and there are a few differences. Like this operates the air brakes, which this will be a little bit easier. This is only an air brake, not a it is, so we could just have it there. That's doing nothing right now, so we just pull back when we want to slide down, and forward just a little bit of give. That might make things easier. This is the same, that is the same. These are actually big surfaces, that's why the whole plane wobbles. On a glider, that can happen if you're rough with it. Our speed is controlled purely by that, and these propellers are actually angled at a certain way that the rotor will not overspeed at a fairly high altitude. I've taken this on testing up to 70,000 feet. And on Simple Planes 2, which I'm totally buying the game, especially the VR version, it's better. So let's go for a little whirl in this magnificent flying machine. There we go, nice little takeoff on the Wright Brothers plane, kinda. And I'm just gonna fly just with that. We'll keep the dot in the middle. Keep the dot in the middle, just flying direct, just by purely instruments. Now we look out the window, and we are going up like a rocket, just like the real Wright. This is like the first flight of the Wright Brothers plane. So we're at around 8,000 feet and climbing quite rapidly, going at a speed which our we're gonna have to update the airspeed indicator. I never thought I'd have to do that with this plane. Okay, well, if the airspeed indicator is off the charts, that means we're going fast enough to fly. These propellers were designed for very, very high altitudes. I'm gonna check that we're going to have to add a compass onto this plane. Whoops. Did I not add a compass? Wow, what a rookie mistake. Alright, we're gonna go VFR then. VFR just for the fun of it. We're now 14, 15, 16,000 feet. This is what I was doing. Around about 16,000 feet, I was keeping this at about here. And I was just letting it go. Get away from that engine noise. I was just letting it go around in circles. Just like this until it ran out of fuel and inevitably got me back on the ground. So this thing is, all it wants to do is be up in the sky. Being on the ground is not where it is. And I'm glad I could do this with the same basic design as the Wright Brothers plane, because it shows that it works. You just need to tweak it a little bit. Where are we? We're at exactly 20,000 feet. This is quite nice. Our controls are quite responsive because that speed is completely off the charts. We're purely stick and rudder. I know how to make that right. I could just go like this and we can watch our airspeed drop a lot, but our propellers will catch it up. The thing is, this has got a lot of top end power rather than bottom end power. It's not going to take off very fast, but it'll catch up. It's funny playing this in multiplayer because people are constantly, well, I've had a few people be like, was that a Wright Brothers plane that just overtook me? But it's interesting. Not a lot of people know about the Wright Brothers plane, that this is actually that design. The aerodynamics are obviously... In designing this thing, at first it was actually a bit of a nightmare to design, but as a general plane to fly, since it is different, it's not... Normally you would have a stick like that, but having it so this is wherever you leave it, kind of makes it harder to fly on... it makes it's easy to fly in virtual reality, but way harder to fly anywhere else. So trust me when I tell you, if you don't have access to virtual reality, but you get good at flying this plane without virtual reality, yeah, you're going to have no problem. You're going to find this very easy. We're at nearly 60,000 feet. We're actually now at our... Actually, that airspeed is true. This is as high as we're getting. So we're going to be falling out of the sky very soon. Let's do it. As long as we can see where the ground is, we can see where we're landing. I felt like taking us on a high altitude flight. This is doing absolutely not much. We're pretty much along for the ride at this point in time. If I do pull the brakes, it kind of straightens us out. And then I noticed that flying with testing. It doesn't matter, because if we spin out or something at this altitude, where we got all that time to actually fix ourselves up. Oh yeah, that's right. My mistake. This actually controlled the rudder too. You know what? Where is it? Settings, weather. Let's get some wind at about on the east. Alright, we're gonna do a landing, and it might actually be a crosswind landing, because you guys are my audience. If you watch this far, then I appreciate that. I'm gonna tell you all to do the likes and subscribe thing right now, and we're gonna do this like we always do in my videos, because I'm just that sort of person. Don't blame me, it was the way I was raised. Actually no, don't blame the people who raised me too, they're delightful. Right now I'm just cruising down, no engines really needed. I've actually blown the engines at a high altitude, and you could just glide for ages and then come in. This is a great glider, providing you're high up. Through designing this, is not really a finished design. I'm going to refine a few things. I absolutely hate how that is. How that is like the old style. I want to kind of modernize everything. We have a bit of a crosswind coming to the east, and it would be nice if I had a okay. It'd be really nice if I actually had... I'm sorry. It would be nice if I had a compass, so I can know which way the land is going, which way the wind is going. Talk properly. You're old enough. which way the flipping wind is going. Now it seems that we're doing a 13, it's like 13 knots or whatever I put it as, from the east, which means we are currently doing the crosswind landing correctly. I'm not using any air brakes as of now. In fact, I might, not that one, might use a tiny bit of it. Just give it a bit of a puff. These engines kind of wind up a lot anyway. No, air brakes are actually, we have to give it a puff, more of a puff. And this is a wonky landing. Okay, this is my first crosswind landing in this one. So, and we over to that and touchdown. Perfect. It's gonna weathercock into the actual wind. I'll stop it there. Anyway, this is the new improved Wright Brothers plane. I'm not going to upload this publicly because there are a bunch of improvements I want to make on it before I give you guys a final deal. I'm not going to keep spamming the simple planes with just all the updates. I want to get rid of the old blocks and replace them with the new. The plane might end up being bigger anyway. Anyway, like, subscribe, join our Discord. It's amazing how we've only got 4 people in our Discord, and we can get talking about it, and we can also prepare for the release of Simple Planes 2 as well. I'm certainly going to be keeping a computer open and keeping a server up for as long as I possibly can. Alright, I appreciate you all watching. Have a good day, everyone. Bye.